So I've been saying it, I'm going to say it again, but Morgan Stanley's going to say it better than I did because they apparently agree with me. Morgan Stanley says, according to CB underscore Doge, Morgan Stanley says that SpaceX is attractively valued and investors still underestimate the scale of Starship. My statement, of course, that I would add to that is that it is the most undervalued stock I think I've ever seen, not even close. Following SpaceX's $100 billion Starbase Louisiana announcement, the firm reiterated its overweight rating on the stock. SpaceX plans 15 launch pads company-wide with at least 3 new pads operational by the end of 2027. Morgan Stanley assumes 2 launches per paid. Sorry, that's hard to say. Morgan Stanley assumes 2 launches per pad daily. Its 2040 forecast of 5,800 annual Starship launches and 3.5 trillion in revenue would require only 8 pads, meaning Louisiana could enable a launch cadence far beyond its model. Louisiana opens southward Gulf launch routes to polar orbits, directly relevant to orbital computing. SpaceX trades at 10 times projected full year 2028 sales. 10 times sales with 70% growth and 25 EBITDA with EBIT with 113% growth. So it's like crazy. The stock should be at least 225, probably should be 300 right now, based on pretty much known information. Joe Hansen says this: most of AI compute is going to be real-time video understanding and real-time video generation. And we expect that SpaceX, probably Tesla too, will be leaders in real-time video understanding and generation. That's a quote from Elon Musk. Polymarket, just in, more than 100 campaign ads have mentioned data centers this midterm election cycle, and not a single candidate-run ad has portrayed data centers positively. That's according to Politico. So Starship has been loaded on Starship, yes, has been loaded onto a semi-submersible ship to begin the several-month journey back to Starbase. Congratulations to the entire SpaceX recovery team for battling through challenging conditions to give our engineers access to a wealth of data to continue to rapidly deploy Starship. And then we have this. If I can stop this for a second. See, I never can find all this stuff. This video is sponsored by Rebellionaire, which is a registered investment advisor built for investors who think differently about concentrated wealth. A lot of investors in this audience follow companies like Tesla and SpaceX, not just because they're chasing a headline, but because they believe these businesses are tied to major long-term themes. Things like autonomy, things like space, things like robotics, things like energy, satellite technology, and artificial intelligence, all leading future, aspects of business. Rebellionaire works with investors who hold these concentrated positions, including interests in companies such as Tesla and SpaceX. It provides investment management, financial planning, and related advisory services. Their work includes helping clients evaluate portfolio concentration, risk management, tax considerations, income strategies, charitable planning, liquidity needs, and long-term financial goals. If you'd like more information about Rebellionaire, including its services and important disclosures, please visit rebellionaire.com. That is A-I-R-E, Rebellion, A-I-R-E.com. All right, so now we've got this. Stifle raises Nvidia stock price target following Q2 earnings smasher. Well, Roy is the analyst from Stifle that is going to be doing the report. And he's according to the article, he has one of the best analyst track records, period. His tip ranks profile shows he ranks 19th out of 12,495 Wall Street analysts with a 67% success rate and an average return of 51.60%. I think that's per year. He said that while Nvidia beat the consensus estimate for revenues and EPS, what is more important is that management issued its first longer-term full-year outlook in company history. Roy reiterated a buy rating for Nvidia stock and raised his price target to 315 from 282 based on a 20x multiple. He said he believes the multiple could prove conservative in the long term. The analyst noted that Vera Rubin is in full production and is expected to account for about 20% of data center revenue in Q3. For him, the key customer disclosure was an expanded partnership with AWS. He believes that Nvidia remains the primary beneficiary of the shift from general purpose to accelerated compute. And Grok, I asked Grok about Nvidia. He says that he thinks the profit for 2027 would only be about 223 to 226 billion. That would be a non-GAAP. Now, according to Grok, though, if you take a 25 PE to that, the stock price is pretty much on target right now. It's maybe $250. Now, some argue the PE should go up. You could also take a longer look at Nvidia and come up with a current value based on the discount amount from future earnings, and that might give you that 320 as mentioned above. Now, personally, I think Nvidia should lead an effort to retrain people that lose their job to AI. I think they should refuse to sell chips to companies who are not optimizing water use and also helping communities to have a positive advantage from electrical power that the companies, the data centers bring in terms of their own power capabilities. Then, after they do those three things, and I think they should do those tomorrow, then they should mount a $200 million PR campaign as soon as possible. Potentially, they could donate $1 billion also to the following group. Now, this is a group that no one company created it. In June 2026, a bipartisan nonprofit called Raise Us launched with $500 million pledged toward a $1 billion goal, and its purpose is to retrain American workers and ease transitions for people displaced by AI. And the main tech backers, often called the anchor funders, are OpenAI, Anthropic, Microsoft, Amazon, joined by other large companies like Bank of America, IBM, Cisco, Workday, and philanthropies. The effort is led by former U.S. Secretary of Commerce Secretary Gina Raimondo and former Indiana Governor Eric Holcomb, with initial pilot programs in Arkansas, Connecticut, Maryland, and Utah. Ideas being tested include wage insurance, incentives for employers to retain rather than lay off staff, and new training models tied to actual employer demand. Earlier, smaller companies' specific efforts also exist. For example, Google's 2024 $75 million AI Opportunity Fund. But Raise Us is the largest. It's a multinational, multi-company fund, explicitly framing around workers affected by AI job disruption. So what I think this boils down to is Nvidia should lead. These other companies are great, but Nvidia is the greatest benefactor of all of this, and Nvidia should lead. But the key thing is it's to their advantage. They should spend $200 million at least on PR for this effort and get it out now. Not in 3 weeks, not in 6 weeks, not in 2 months. Now they need to overwhelm the negative folks with a major PR campaign saying, look, we're not going to be bad citizens. We're going to be good citizens. We're already good citizens, but you just don't know it, and we're going to explain it to you. Today, there was this, so you may notice things are a little bit out of order today, and I am playing with the order, but I'm doing this morning show, or the midday show, late. Wholesale and retail inventories were both up strongly. This could be intentional inventory builds in anticipation of better sales ahead, or it could be overbuying compared to sales. We never know which. But if you look at other data, one would suspect that businesses are optimistic, and therefore they're probably building inventories to make sure they're ready for the fall and Christmas season. We had a larger than expected increase in the trade deficit. Of course, Trump wants this to be closer to even, not getting bigger and bigger. I think right now, though, based on the data within the data, is that we have a case where the economy is outpacing the rest of the world, and we just need more goods than we are producing. The domestic companies can't produce it fast enough to meet the demand, and so we're having to import it. Grok says I'm on to something. Much of this increase in imports was capital goods and computer related. Also, in the week ended August 22nd, the advanced figure for seasonally adjusted initial claims was only 203,000. This was a decrease of 4,000 from the previous week's revised level, which was revised up by 1,000. The 4-week moving average was 205,000, an increase of 1,250, but it's been staying around this. What was the lowest? Like 19. I'll get it right in a minute. 190,000 or 189,000, something like that. The highest recently, I think, was 212. This is really so much lower than it was under Biden. And it's indicative to me that we are definitely heading into shortages of labor, which we already have in some places. Anyway, the 4-week moving average, no, we did that. The advanced seasonal adjusted insured unemployment was still 1.2%. The total number of continued weeks claimed for benefits in all programs for the week ending August 8th was only 1,817,000. That's a decrease of 21,000 and a decrease of about 400,000 from this time last year. GDP Now is out with a new number as of yesterday afternoon. They've raised it back up from 4.0 to 4.8. Always remember, this is something I would always forget, so that's why I'm reminding you. This 4.8 figure is on top of inflation. Okay, this is inflation adjusted. So that would mean that the overall economy is running at add 3.3. It's running at 8.1 if inflation is indeed 3.3. Now, some late breaking news. The Polymarket Post is real. What Polymarket Post? Oh, Anthropic announced a research preview of the model hardware standard today. The MHS, here's another 3-letter thing we have to learn. The MHS is a shared specification so AI agents can discover, talk to, and safely operate physical devices that already have programmable inferences, like microscopes, liquid handlers, robotic arms, lasers, plate readers, factory equipment, and so on. We're going to be asking George Merchant about this weekend. The pitch is that labs and plants currently spend weeks or months writing one-off integrations because instruments from different vendors barely speak to each other. Again, George Merchant's been telling us about this. MHS is meant to collapse that into something closer to a common driver layer. Should make his job a lot easier. Early partner results that have been published so far, I'm just going to give you one of these. There's a bunch, but Carnegie Mellon said that Claude orchestrated a liquid handler, plate reader, robotic arm, and cameras across 3 incompatible computers and ran serial dilution dose response equipment 3x faster. The integration took hours instead of weeks to accomplish. So this is a big deal. One more way that Anthropic is really helping things at the factory level or in the lab level. Insurrection Barbie. This is a great article. I just had to break too, even though it's not business related. Well, it's might be slightly business related. Anyway, Insurrection Barbie, which goes as the handle of defiantly free. Christmas has come early for me, she says. Besant's inner circle is drafting a blueprint that could ultimately strip non-compliant organizations of their 501c3 status, their charitable status. According to 2 of the people familiar with the plans, the reviews could result in massive back payments and civil penalties, the same sources said. If the New York Post story is accurate and the administration is going to go after these NGOs, it will be the most consequential thing this administration has done yet. We know, of course, that there are thousands of these so-called charitable organizations out there that are taking advantage, and this will be great. I hope it happens. The fact that they're thinking about it means they already recognize how much of it is going on. All right, let's take a look at where we are now with our favorite stocks. Because it came up first, I'm going to tell you SpaceX hanging out at that 140 level. I don't know what it's going to take to get us back to 150, but we should be at 225. Okay, then we've got, okay, went the wrong way. We have got Tesla. Tesla at 355.13 and moving upward. So we could be getting up to 360 again. That would be nice. We'll see what happens. And that's all I've got for you on the stocks, the normal ones, the ones I always cover. Okay, let's go ahead to look at bonds. It says here, according to this, if it's true, the 10-year is unchanged at 467. Earlier, it was up a little bit, so that's good. Then we've got oil down, which have been up a little bit, so that's good. 83.44 on Texas Intermediate and 89.58 for Brent, also down a little bit. Natural gas also unchanged at 290, which is a little bit high. We've got gold down 1650, but still way up, and silver down 0.47%, under 70,000. I'm sorry, under $70, barely though, 69.11. Copper down 0.13, back to 668, but that's still very close to all-time high for that. We've got the dollar flat, and we've got the Bitcoin up 1979, 80,000. This is a recent high. It has broken through 80, which makes it the high for a while, and looking like there's a kind of a floor or a ceiling here, which it might break through. We'll see what happens. We got Ethereum 2514. So it broke through 2,500. That seems to be important. What about the pre-market? Well, it's down barely, just barely. Dow down 0.03, S&P down 0.11, and NASDAQ down 0.17. So yeah, it's really not very much. Headed down a little bit, but not very much. Okay, tomorrow, of course, we've got the Fed chairman giving his first speech, major speech, based on the meetings that they've been holding, as they do every year this time. And so we're waiting to see what Warsh is going to say. And let's see. First of all, he's not going to indicate there's any chance of any kind of a rate hike. He's not going to indicate there's any chance of any kind of a rate reduction. He's probably going to be a little bit hawkish. He will probably be called hawkish, regardless of what he says. I think that CNBC and others will say that he was hawkish. But there's no chance in the world there's going to be rate hikes before the election. So just if you think that's going to happen, not going to happen. Okay, that's all I got for you right now. Remember to trade with Rebellionaire. If you're interested in getting some of that kind of help, you should give them a call, take a look at their website, rebellionaire.com. That's all. Wait, I didn't tell you what happened earlier today. What you need to go look at was this morning, I did a video with Jeff Lutz. It's blowing up. It's not viral, but it's blowing up. I'll put the card right here in case you'd like to go see it. And, maybe you already did. And then tomorrow morning, first thing, it will be Cern Basher, as usually happens on Friday morning. That's it. Now I'm done. It's been great talking to you.